Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And that song just touched my heart this morning. Good morning, coffee breakers. How are you? And all of those new and wonderful people who will come into the room today. I just want to say good morning. And I'm so grateful for your life and mine and others. And I just send shouts out of love and happiness and joy this morning to transform us into those people that we only hope and pray to be every single day. How you doing? You know, for those of you who have not been introduced to me, my name is Senabella, and I am so happy to make your acquaintance. So glad that you're here with me today. We're going to be talking about a lot of great things today as Nyfesha Miller, who happens to be my child, my daughter, is presenting today with us. And we're going to talk about all things Nyfesha. And this is my second opportunity to showcase my daughter. And my daughter, Nasim, was here earlier on when I first started. And now I have this opportunity to speak with Nyfesha. So I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that God has blessed me with daughters and sons, and that this show is giving me an opportunity to talk about not only myself and my family, but people from all over who are doing all kinds of things. You know, it's important for us to acknowledge life. So today I get to acknowledge life, but my life through the eyes of someone who's living their own life. And that's my daughter, Nyfesha. So what are some of the things that you're concerned about this morning? And how are you feeling? What's going on in your life, in your world? And how are your children affecting your life? What have they done to transform you? And what are the transformations you make as they transform into who they become? And Nyfesha will be talking about that a little bit as well today. So if you're ready to get started, I am. But I'm going to start off with my favorite song. And that is the one that I always talk about. I say, hey, let's wake up feeling beautiful. I want to 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 wake up feeling beautiful. Beautiful. I want to wake up with the sun in my heart and joy in my eyes. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. So beautiful. I want to wake up. I want to wake up. Yeah, yeah. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. 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 I want to thank God for my life today. Thank God for you. Good morning and welcome to the stage. Let's just bring her right on in so we can get started. We got a lot to talk about. Hey, Fesha.
Good morning.
Good morning, sweetie.
Beautiful Queen Mother.
I love it when you say that. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm good too, baby. I'm good. Good. It's good to have you here. Sitting in your beautiful room where the beautiful sunshine is already portrayed in a picture. Yeah, you say that's your favorite spot when you're online, right?
Yes, it is. I just like the vibrant colors in the background. It's just, they just really, yeah, I just like color. So
Yeah.
I think the vibrant colors just kind of bring life to the whole scene.
Hmm. It's part of how you dress too.
Yes, yes. I know that color is good for camera too.
Well, I always said that, and I tell you this all the time. You remind me of India. The colors that you love, all those jewel tones and so forth. You wear a lot of vibrant jewel tones, and it's really a part of what our energy is. When we dress a certain way, it depicts our energy. Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's nice to know. Thank you for that reminder. Excuse me. And I knew I had to wake up feeling beautiful and looking beautiful because of you. So,
Oh wow.
being on this show with you today.
You're doing it. You know that.
Beautiful queen.
Thank you, sweetheart. You're a queen as well.
Thank
It's something about the transition of life, and when you see your daughters, your sons, or your child, if you have an individual son or daughter, um, just grow to become the person that they'll be. And when you've got to let them go, when it's time for you to let them go, so you can start acknowledging that they have their own individual life, that the system is working and now it's moving in this direction and you have to take it. Yeah. Wasn't easy for me. I think you know that. I tried to keep my pens in as long as I could.
you. You still are.
Yeah. Well, what about you? How are you feeling about that?
In terms of just trying to keep it together,
Well, you being a mother and holding on to the children and things of that nature.
I learned from a wise woman once that, we just have to take everything 15 minutes at a time.
Mm.
So that's what I've learned. That is a practice in itself.
Mm.
So, we just have to give ourselves grace. But, many might not know that, I've lived a life of with family and children for over 25 years. And so my youngest just graduated, the caboose, as I call her, and she just graduated from high school, or finished her last day of high school, I should say, yesterday. Her official graduation is on June 1st. So that in itself is just, oof, it is it's a process. I'm still
Yeah.
processing the thought of that. Yesterday was a little challenging, just thinking about, like, wow, my youngest is actually, she's completed high school. I don't even know how I got here. So yeah, it's just that,
Yeah, you
processing it and giving myself grace.
Yeah, you're talking about that transformation, transforming from your regular hectic schedule. And your schedule, is it less hectic or is hectic, but now with not with all the other nuances that were part of what you were doing? What is different for you now?
The difference is just having so much more freedom than I've ever had before.
Hmm.
Living life and doing things more on my terms, and just my own schedule, setting my own schedule, doing things the way I want. I'm like, I thought this happened when I was like much older than now, but it's happening now. And I still feel like, you know, I'm still very young at heart. So there's still a lot of things in me that don't quite feel like I should be granted the kind of freedom that I've been given. I feel like this is just not normal,
Hmm.
because I did live such a full and abundant life, juggling motherhood, career,
Hmm. You
being
ain't.
a wife, you know. I was all these things, I wore all these hats, like, the soccer mom, I was the PTA mom when they were younger. I was just always juggling all these many facets of life, and just, the roles that came with motherhood and being a wife, like I said. So I only knew myself as that from the age of 23.
Were you 23?
I was 23 when I had my first child,
Oh
when I
no,
had Makosi.
well, I was thinking of when you got married. Yeah, that was like
No,
23.
I
Wait
was
a minute.
23 when I had my first child. So yes,
Yeah.
23 first, I was a young mother and wife, because I got married at 22. We had Makosi a year later. So, with that being said,
22? You weren't younger than that? I
I
just
was,
remember it differently. Did you know?
well,
But
because
now
we
the
dated,
ages, I
we
guess.
dated early.
Yeah. Well, then life much like what you're saying. My life was changing too. Like my children, I was still thinking of you all as children, but you all were young adults. You
Yes.
know, and as I think of it, I do recall now you all were working. Well, I'm not going to talk about the working because you'll get me on that one. But you all were working and moving about and doing a lot of things. And so, what is the biggest thing that you think that you'll have to face? Uh,
In
and
terms of,
this new time change, this sort of like you're in a time warp now, right?
yes.
Like, yeah. So, what is the biggest thing that you face? You were kind of mentioning, like the transition of like you went from doing all of these things, and you not only did that, but you had a whole community that did that with you. Many of your friends were having children, and they were in school with your children at the same time. So, all of you all
Yes.
transformed together. What's that been like?
Yes.
How have you? What kind of conversations have you all had as it related to that?
I think that's what helps because I did have such a village, such a great community of friends and family that supported me from, the grandparents, of course, you included in that equation, and just my host of friends. And it was just always a great support system. So I can't really say I struggled a whole lot as a mother, even with the many hats that I wore in that spectrum. I felt like it was just, great to have the support. I would tell anyone that, when you're a young parent having children or making the decision to have children or start a family rather, to build that support system. You have to have a support system. I hear people say things like, I'm moving out of state, with my family. And I'm just like, I have a friend in particular, and they moved out of state with all their support being here at home where they live, where they moved from. And it's not easy. So I can't even imagine what that would have been like if I didn't have the support that I had in my community. And like I said, just having the family. And fortunately, I also had a very good husband who was very hands-on. So
Yes.
that was helpful. I wasn't a single mother in a marriage. So that was very helpful because that's a real thing too.
Yes, it is.
So yes, that's the thing that's gotten me through.
And just speaking of that, you say that's a real thing. It is a real thing. And a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people don't have that thing, don't speak of it the same way, but they go through the same kind of dynamics, but they're doing
Yes.
it alone. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
as a single mom or a single dad, your community is important then because you don't have the support system at home who juggles the
Yes.
food and the bills and all of those things. And so you had that. And so it also is still where you are now. Your support system is still the same though. You all
Absolutely.
are still working really well together and
Oh
you
yes.
okay. And your friends who have transitioned alongside with you and are dealing with all of these new say vitamin A, B, and C kind of issues as a growing adult who's
Yes.
maturing and trying to find their lives. I see some of them saying some of them went back to school and got PhDs.
Yes.
Uh, some of them are, I mean, Andrea, I mean, when I think about it, some of them incorporated their children into their lives, right? Good morning, Nassim. Good morning, baby.
Hi,
Uh,
sister.
and so it's a big deal just trying to discover yourself. But through the interim of it, I just want to kind of switch into this. You were able to also carve out, you began to carve out. And it wasn't easy because you and the husband, you all had like a tight ship. So
Yes.
you were really, really, really trying to expand into this thespian, this vocalist, this person who had an image, a presence, right, as an
Yes.
individual. And talk about that difficulty a little bit, or the pleasure of it. How did that actually transition for you? What was that like?
Well, I mean, you said it right. There was difficulty and amidst the pleasure of it. The difficulty was being a young mother and juggling motherhood while seeking out the desire for the stage. I've been a pretty much a stage person since the very young age of what, I would say high school it started. In high school, I did my first talent show. I got that bug when I got on the stage, and I remember receiving such an overwhelming response from the audience and just the instant gratification that it gives you when you're performing. So that was really where it started. And then from there, I did pageants and things like that. I did the Oxnard pageant when I was younger, and that was probably at 16, I believe, when I did my first pageant, and that was a lot of fun. So I had that experience, and then I went off to venture into other things. I never really knew that acting was going to be a thing that I'd fall into, but I started off as a vocalist more so. So I was doing a lot of singing, recording. I sang in groups. I sang solo. I recorded some songs and things like that, songs that I felt like were going to make it to the Billboard at some point. And it just never really took off in that area. And then one day, one fateful day, I ended up auditioning for a stage production. It was a stage play, actually. And the director was looking for ensemble, vocalists, and just different things like that. Of course, actors too. And I just didn't think that was in the cards. So I was there auditioning just to be part of the ensemble. And to my surprise, she called me up the next day and said, I'd like to cast you in my stage play as the star, as my leading lady. And I said, leading lady for what? And she said, as my actress, as my lead. And I said, what, actress lead? And she said, yeah. I said, I've never really acted before. She says, well, you are the epitome of my character. You're the vision that I had for my character in this play, and I would like for you to play this role. And she
Please, I
worked
have
with,
to ask you now, which character was that? What character was that? Was that the
this was No More Drama. It was called No More Drama.
was that the one
Her
you
name was,
played
the
schizophrenic?
director's name was Tanya Townsend.
Was that the one you played the schizophrenic wife?
No, that, you know what? No, I wasn't a you always refer to that. That was the
Crazy.
schizophrenic was in the comedy show that I did, the improv show, I
Okay.
believe, right?
All right. Okay.
Oh, no, 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 no. I know there was so many, but yes. No, that wasn't it. But no, this was my very first stage play.
Okay.
No More Drama was my very first stage production. And I did play a wife, but I was playing a wife with a husband who, yeah, it was just a lot of things going on in the play. And so I did have to kind of play different, characters in
Mhm.
that, but it wasn't a schizophrenic character.
I remember No More Drama.
Yes, that was
I remember.
probably about maybe 15 or so years
Was
ago,
the wife
20.
kind of snappy?
Exactly,
I
exactly.
was sitting in the audience, so it was my first experience with you on stage, right? In that manner.
Yes,
And of course, we did all the Kenwood High School stuff, but I'm talking about.
yes.
So here we are, and I'm sitting in the audience as a mom, and I'm like my daughter's in a play, like every other mother. And I was always saying, "Fisha, I need my mommy moment." And you were
You
on
always said that.
stage, and you were this mean wife, and people were like, "Oh, I can't stand her." And I'm like, "What do you mean you can't stand her?" I was ready to get into a fight with a verbal thing. And then I went, "Oh, that's right. She's in a play. She's in a play."
I remember you shared that with me too at the time. I remember that.
Ridiculous. Yeah, I was crazy.
Yes, because I said they were talking about me, and I said that means I was doing my part. I was doing my job, right?
And it took a few times for me to see you on stage and it stopped being personal. It was like, oh, that's
Exactly.
right. It's not really her. This is her
Yes.
portraying someone. And that's when I kind of understood also that you were very good at what you were doing. That transformation was so seamless.
Thank you.
I don't know that I saw acting in your life. I saw Mommy, I Want to Be a Model, the little girl who did the modeling magazine in Oxnard
Yes.
and sold stuff. So you early on talked about and dreamed about what you're doing. You knew it, huh?
I don't know if I necessarily knew it. I mean, I definitely had such a profound admiration for you as my mother. I shared that often as a child. So you were just the epitome of stardom to me. So as a child,
All
the
right,
way
now.
yes, I just love Senabella. Like I remember adorning your photos all over my bedroom wall, it was just a thing. When my friends would come over, they were like, "Oh my God," it was just a thing. I was really just starstruck in a little girl way, just by you. So I think I shared that with you before on many occasions. So
Heard it.
that and it's,
Yeah. I haven't
but
heard it in a long time. Yeah. I
what's
forgot.
that?
I haven't heard that in a long time. So, it's nice. It's very sweet hearing that now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would always just admire that. And the singing bug, I just, again, I had the gift thanks to you and my father. So I inherited that gift and that talent, and I used it. I used it whenever I could, and so that was the segue to other things on stage. Hence the
Yeah.
modeling, I guess, the acting, and all the other things that took precedent as a vocalist. So yeah, I have to say thank you for the gift, and thank you, God, for allowing me to use it in such a way, because I always say, if today was my last day on earth, I would have to say I gave it all. I can leave this earth saying that I'm empty. I gave it all I got.
Well, Naima Latif, our executive producer, founder of Female Solutions, says that is so funny, but it takes talent to play a nasty person and make people hate you.
And in real life, I don't even really have that in me, right?
No,
I do, but I don't.
yeah, I think that's the great thing about acting is that when you know a person and you see them make a complete 100% transformation into a character, and you become that character, and you do it so well because it went from you began to portray many kinds of characters. There was a character where it was a woman who was being abused and you got shot on stage. Was it she got shot?
I was being abused.
Did he shoot you, or what happened with that? That was Daryl, whatever the guy's name.
Damien. No, not that was yes. Why am I forgetting my names?
But I just recall that when that scene happened and it was violent, I felt it like it was you. I was like, oh my God, this is I had to take a breath and put my head down. Because even though I knew that I was in a theater, the transformation into that character was so real. And hearing you just scuffle with that, I was like, oh my God, I don't know. Can I come to another play? Am I going to be able to do this with her?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it lethargic for you to get on stage and come, bring out all these other different characters? Do they help you to release any of the anxieties and anything that you may be going through personally or not? Do they do that? Do they allow you to do that?
That's a really good question, because I often say that the stage theater, just being an actress in general, it allows you to step outside of yourself and be a character that portrays something of someone or someone's experience. It might not be my experience, but it's someone's experience. So my job is to, again, step outside of who I am as Nyfesha, the person. And when I go into that character, I have to fully release all of who I was to become that. It's art imitating life. So when I have to go into the zone of imitating life, I have to make sure I'm doing my due diligence and being that character. I don't judge any character that I have to do, that I sign up for. Any character that I'm cast for, even if I feel like that has, like, I can't relate to it. It has nothing to do with my relatability to the character. It's all about portraying what I need to for the stage, for the film, or whatever have you, because that's part of the job. I'm an actress before anything else. So the stage is the place that I can just release the mom, the wife, the friend, the daughter, the sister, the employee, and I can now become this other person that is going to be portrayed for someone to relate to.
What is this piece right here that I just put up? I'm going to put it back in.
Which piece? I'm sorry.
Here it is.
Oh, the psychiatrist. And okay. So I had to I played rather, the therapist, psychiatrist, of Phyllis Hyman, I was narrating the story as it was told by her therapist. Because the psychiatrist is the person that she was seeing before she took her life out.
I think that just hearing about Phyllis Hyman and her taking her life is monumental still.
I agree.
You know, there are a lot of things that happen in the world of entertainment, as we call it, and people are really playing out their real lives to some degree right in front of us. So what was it like? Because, you know, what was that like, you know, for you to, I'm kind of lost at a moment in this moment, because I'm thinking about what I said earlier about how can you detach from those things when you come out of it? Who are some of the actors or actresses that you see that you say to yourself that these are my favorite, and you watch them make their transformations? How much of that can you really leave when you leave the stage? How much of it, and how much time does it take for you to make that transition? Is it immediate, or do you go home and you have to do Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know, chant? What is it? What's that?
That's another great question, honestly, because I would have to say one of my greatest roles to date, which I just loved playing, Shug Avery in The Color Purple. That was one of my most favorite stage productions. And even to this day, you know, I just did another run of that recently for another stage director. But when I played the role of Shug, I played Shug in The Color Purple, and we toured that nationally for about 3 years. I would have to say, honestly, I probably to a degree became Shug. I became Shug to such a degree that, like, I remember my husband saying, you need to learn how to separate yourself from the character. He would often say, you're not this person, you know. I feel like a semblance of that was brought home, and I just didn't know how to separate myself from that. I can honestly say when I look back that I became the embodiment of what Shug represented.
You know, let me ask this question really quick then. What part of Shug went home? Was it something that you embraced about the character that you wanted to kind of like feel more often? Or were you embracing it because it had you become more aligned to the character and you were just still sort of rehearsing her? What was that like?
Well, because I was very conservative, more reserved. Shug had to be more the character that she portrays, or that she is. She embodies power and strength and boldness and sex appeal and just assurance of herself.
And she was sassy.
All those things. She was definitely sassy. So she did things on her own terms and lived by her own rules. I didn't necessarily live like that in real life. I wasn't that. I knew how to be, and not to say that I had to be a subservient wife. I wasn't that, but I was just very much a wife and a mother. So when I'd have to go to the stage and rehearse and pull out this character, I remember having a conversation with the director because he would get on me so bad. I put you in this position because I know you can play it. And I'm like, I'm not sexy. I'm not this. I'm not sassy. I'm not. And he's like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. And it was like, you know, I'm going to whoop it out of you because I know that you have it in you.
Remember, you came to my house and you said, John told me I need to come home and talk to you about that.
He says, your mom has it. Go get some lessons from your mother. He sure did. He sure did say that. That is so funny. He says, have her show you some of those things, you know. And I'm like, okay, like whatever that means, you know.
And I was like, okay, like whatever that means when you got there. I was like, I don't think that. I think
he was just saying you have the sassiness and all the things, you know.
I didn't see myself that way. When you walked in the door that day and you said it to me, I was like, I looked at you, and whatever it is that I was able to provide for you was my image of what that would be for you. And I was really in my mind looking at Shug Avery in The Color Purple. So I was portraying what I remembered from her when I shared that with you. But it did make me also, like you, stop and say, am I sexy? You know, when someone says those things, like, oh, okay, well,
Yes.
some women are very much aware of themselves. They know who
Yes.
they
Yes.
are and what they're doing. And others are sort of like, I don't know about this, and or for me, it wasn't so much that I did or didn't know. I just didn't think about it.
Yes.
I never thought about it. So for you, what was that? I mean, you had a husband you were with at that time. And so sexy is different in that way, huh? Or is it?
Yeah, because my sexiness was for him, not for the public. So that was my idea. I mean, again, I was a young wife, so
Mhm.
that was not for the public. I was a very committed wife, so in my head, I can be sexy, but I'm not about to do all this extra stuff on the stage for. I didn't know how to do that. Just understand, I didn't know how to do it. But when I learned, honey, when I learned how to do that, the queen honeybee showed herself full throttle, and it just took she took a name of her own. So I became Suge on stage and off stage, and I didn't know how to turn it off. I just did not know how to turn it off. So yeah, I learned from that experience. You have to know how to learn how to separate the character from the real person. So even to this day, I hear, a lot of my old cast members, they always say, no one played Suge like you. You played Suge. And in my head, all I can think of is I was Suge. I was Suge. I don't even know, like, thank you for the compliment, but in my mind, I was Suge Avery. So that was a spirit that I exuded, and it took over. It took a life of its own.
You got a write up in the newspaper in one of the cities you went, and you also received a Director's Choice Award for that role.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I was quite proud of you in that moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. One of my greatest experience. I absolutely love playing Suge. So yeah, but now when I see it and I see others play the role, of course I enjoy it every single time I see anybody play the role. But I'll never forget. It'll always be a huge part. I'll always carry right here in my heart that, that was the role that took me over. It was the role that I realized that I can be this, even when I, even if I don't think I can, because I became that for certain.
We're gonna take a quick break
Sure.
and come right back. So we'll get back in it and let's look and see what some of the people are saying. Okay.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long.
I have your song in my
Now,
head.
if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Well, we're back with Nyfesha Miller, my daughter, and we're talking about the life of the thespian. She says, Mom, I'm a thespian. I'm like, okay. Nyfesha, you have done quite a few things you decided to juggle and throw a lot of balls in the air at one time. And eventually, as you continue to grow, one of the things, it was hard for me to keep up with you because you were like really going for it. I mean, there were times when I was wondering when you would actually slow down because you were on such a roll. But in that role, I became more proud of you. And the things that you portrayed, you became more of it. And I think that watching someone come into their own self is really just a magical moment. And so for me as your mom, but also as a fan, watching you in that capacity, I knew you would be okay. But then you decided, hey, I'm not just going to do that. I've got other ideas, right?
Yes.
And so you were busy at the same time looking at skincare and beauty. It was a big part of your industry, but talk a little bit about how that became part of what you would move on to do as an entrepreneur.
Okay, thank you for asking. So, in terms of the beauty industry, it correlated with what I did on stage because, of course, for stage and theater, I'd always have to do my own makeup, of course, and that just became something of the norm. And from that, I went into learning how to do makeup to from there going into aesthetics and then becoming a licensed esthetician. Now, becoming a licensed esthetician was just, again, it was just a thing that I said, okay, I want to do this. And I just did it. And that was kind of how my thought, my mind worked. Whenever I put my or set my mind to something, I would just do it. And so it was a random thing, but I said, why not just learn about the skin? And so I went on to learn about the skin. And from there, I started working as a licensed esthetician, doing skincare. Fast forward to working for a med spa that ended up shutting down in 2020. And then I ended up opening up my own skincare studio in 2019, the year before 2020. And then again, the place that I was working for, they closed down during the pandemic. And here I am opening up a business that same year that had to be shut down. And so from that, I had to pivot and I decided to create my own skincare line. And the skincare line would be something that was e-commerce. They could purchase online. If they couldn't come into any skincare spas or come into a space where they can get an actual or physical skincare treatment or facials, they can do it in the comfort of their own homes. And
And that's
so,
what this is right here.
yes,
This is, I remember this because it was during the pandemic and we were making up songs about the coronavirus and stuff and laughing in the house all the time. And then you come over
yes,
one day and you say, Mom, I have a skincare line and I need pictures. And so here we are. Now we're looking at the evidence of that moment, how it transformed so quickly into this. It was like,
yes,
wow, I can't believe that you have these items and we just like always, whenever you show up at my place, we just hurry up and get into things. And that's
exactly.
where that picture comes from. You were in my house and, you came to visit me and you brought your products and we just started taking these here fabulous pictures of you. And yeah, this is it. And I began to say,
Yes.
okay, I guess I'm producing in the house, doing the staging and everything and watching you. And you just happen to have the right colors and I just happen to have the right color pillows inside of my second room.
Exactly, exactly.
These are what I consider to be those moments of iconic historical pictures that really tell the story of who you are, how you started, because even the bottles are different here. Let me see.
They are.
You got the banner here. Let me see if I can pull your banner out for a minute. Oh yeah, thanks, Asada. And so you see this that I'm still trying to juggle. I want to, yeah, there it is. And so you see the images of the labels were different. And you were talking about that constantly. Well, Mom, these aren't the labels. These aren't the labels. So it was growing. So here you are, you're nurturing another part of you. And it was
Yes.
something that you could do without having to worry about acting because you weren't in the studio anymore. You weren't in the theater
No.
rehearsing and stuff. And you were still being a mom. In fact, the
Yes.
kids were here sometimes when we were taking these shots. But
Yes.
the line started to just become what it has become today.
Yes.
Want to talk about that? Go ahead. I'm gonna let you have it.
Oh no, no, no. Everything you're saying, you're absolutely on point with it because that's how it happened. It was like we had to just do what we had to do, pivot and make it happen. And I wanted to make sure I provided whatever was needed, even if I had to hand deliver the products myself, which I would do often, because I never had a business. I was never necessarily an entrepreneur in that facet. Being on the stage, of course, you're an independent artist and you do things, but working as like having products and, an actual brick and mortar business, that is a whole different experience. And so
Mhm.
to live in such a time where I'm taking a leap of faith, and then I had to just go for it. It was definitely different for me because I'm not the risk taker in that regard. But yes, life changes will do that. It'll, when you face the inevitable, it's like you just have to figure it out. Are you gonna swim or sink? And so I had to swim. And so going back to your question, I decided to create a line. And so I ended up creating the cucumber cleanser for daily washing and a detox nightwear cream, or my clients and anyone who was in need of a detoxification can impurify the skin, take all the impurities rather out of their skin and purify the skin with this detox mask that you would put on your face. And it's a charcoal mask, which works really great. And then I created, like, my top three, I would say, is the charcoal mask or the cucumber cleanser, the detox mask, and then I have a nightwear cream where you put on the cream after you do the mask. So with those three alone, that was the first start of, what I launched. And I'm like, you got to try these because they really do work. And of course, I was using the products myself. I was seeing the results. So my skin, while I'm at home stuck in a pandemic, my skin is glowing and glistening. And I wanted everyone else to feel and look the same, feel good about themselves and look good while doing it. So it just took a life of its own. I opened up the website for ordering, and I still have that website. And now I have a collection of not only those three products that I just mentioned, I have an eye serum, I have the oil cleanser that takes off all the makeup, all the heavy makeup, any residue. Of course, it takes out all of the toxins and impurities as well. And it also puts in that good vitamin C that's needed for the skin. So it has vitamin C in it. And then I also have a collection of men's, as you just put on the photo here. So I have a men's line. I sell out of the men's line. I can never keep my men's line in because men, they have come to realize they need to take care of their skin too and not just use water on their face and a towel. So I actually had someone recently reach out to me, a good
Wait a
friend,
minute, wait a minute. They say they need to do more than put water.
put more than water on their skin, because I
Wait
hear
a minute,
so
let me
many.
just have that moment for a minute. So
Yes, so
let's
that is
just talk about that for a second too, because Mike has a barbershop
yes,
and
which he sells my products.
he gives the top shelf of all the things that we're talking about.
Yes, he does.
He does the skincare and all that. So you knew that men needed more because
Absolutely.
you
I
saw,
started off at the barber shop with Mike.
yeah.
Yes, so that we actually created a little skincare area for the men to have, like, facials and things like that when we first opened up Yesterday's Gentleman. So that was the part that, it didn't last too long because, again, men, oh, we don't need it. I don't need that. It took a lot of convincing. But with the skincare, they can do it in the privacy and the comfort of their home,
Mm-hmm.
and they use the products. And I get a lot of feedback. Oh my goodness, this is great. We love this. We love this. So that kind of flies off the shelf, or does, not kind of. It flies off the shelf. I'm currently out of stock, and I'm restocking that part of my collection.
That's
So
great news. It's always
yes,
good to know that something you have was needed and is desired. Right.
absolutely.
Right. And
Yes,
so, wow. So with all the skincare, the children growing up,
yes,
the businesses, and then the pandemic ends and you're back in theater. And, Nasim said, how did you juggle this along with work while being a mom and a wife? She wanted to know that. Now,
um,
that's really cute because she was doing a lot. And we actually stopped seeing you
yes,
often because your life changed completely. And it was as though you didn't live in the city anymore. You didn't live in Illinois. For me, it was like a draft. And I had a busy life too, but I think that's another
Yes.
part about transitions, right? When you're in
Yes.
transition, you lose time. You lose time. The evidence of your work becomes your day. And
Yes.
then if you have children as well, but how did that impact everything that you were doing?
I don't think I took time to really think about it because I just had to stay on autopilot, or I stayed on autopilot. I just, I never really turned off. And that's why I said earlier in the conversation, to see where I'm at now with my last child graduating from high school, my other children living their lives, into their careers just independently. I dropped off Michaela at the airport yesterday, and Milana, she's driving on her own. I mean, my children are just, they're doing things on their own. And I'm like, they don't need me the same. They don't need me at all, really.
Mhm.
So my check-ins is probably, at most what I do now. And I live a very independent life, which, just to say that, doesn't even sound normal. Like, how did I get here? It does not feel normal, because when I was doing that, I could not see the forest for the trees. I just had to keep running and keep moving.
Well, I
That
can
was it.
tell you that it moves so quickly, and then you look up one day and your children, you're my child, they're grown and they're doing their
Yes.
own things. And that's when the impact hits you that, wait a minute, I better make sure I have a good relationship with them because I'm getting older and I want to
Yes.
make sure they want to come back and see me. And
Absolutely.
you think you have something with them that is like what we consider to be sustainable. Well, what we forget is that it's not that it isn't sustainable. It's just that they now are doing the same things. They're impacting their lives with their desires, their dreams, their educations that they've become formidable in, and they now are out on the same track. And so it's a big difference in who you are in life at that
Yes.
time. And so I understand, like, you don't know who you are because you're like, when I was there the other day, you were talking about Milana, like I hardly see her anymore, right?
Yes.
And this is just the year before college, the months before college.
Months before college, because she goes off in the fall. And that is exactly it. And it's not to say that I don't know who I am. Of course, I know who I am in the sense of knowing myself. I'm very self-aware. What I mean by that is just knowing who I am outside of that life,
Mhm.
because it was such a huge part of my life for over 25 years. So to wake up one day and your children are just freely living their lives. They know who they are. I've done my job, and I feel like I've done my job well, very well.
Mhm.
Because I there were times, of course, where as a mother, I'm sure all mothers can relate. You feel like, oh, I'm not a good mother. But now I can honestly say I know I've done my job well, and I can pat myself on the back, and I feel proud of myself, because there were times where I did doubt, was I doing a good job?
Mhm.
But the proof is now in the proof is in the pudding. And my children, they reward me, and they acknowledge it, they acknowledge me, they validate me, and their father does as well. And I now validate that as well, because I know that it was a role. It was a huge, one of the greatest roles of my entire life, over everything, over any stage production, anything I've ever done. This role as a parent was the greatest. And so I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for the entire experience. And of course, this is still just now, this is the new beginning of parenting, because, like, sending Michaela off yesterday, and she travels all the time. She's always jet set. And of course, she's doing her career. Now she's the career person and juggling, all the other things in her life. And now I have to be front and center when they need me for different things of that. And then the worry comes a little bit more too, because you're like, are they okay? My oldest son, he's off, in another state now. Everyone is independent. My oldest daughter, she lives in Atlanta, and she's independently juggling her life and career. So you worry, not to say you worry, but your concern is now in a different place. It's now mental.
And,
So
and yes, we can see why our children chose us and why we chose our parents. That's what the female solution is saying. And
yes.
you're right. You can see that because we do imitate that life that we've seen at home, and we become that as well later as
Yes.
parents. And it is a game. You feel like the balls are in the air, and you're always trying to make sure that you're saying and doing and loving and hugging the right ways. You have a nurse as the oldest child, right?
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Michael's the nurse in Atlanta.
And
You
I
got
just talked to her the other day.
Makosi as an artist. Oh my God, we can go on for days and years of life about all the kids, right? Then you have Michaela now, who's in real estate, right?
Yes.
And now you have Milana, who's becoming a fashion designer.
Yes.
So art is imitating life. Let's take a quick break before I want to have more conversation. So let's take a break and just take a break and breathe, and we'll come right back. Okay?
Sounds good.
Well, we're back, and we're here with the lovely and dynamic daughter of mine, Nyfesha Miller. I always say you are the girlfriend to the girlfriend. I mean, you have so many girlfriends that at times I forget how many girlfriends you have, and they show up at the house and hordes. And I don't have a picture of what I want to talk about real quick, which was the airplane situation, the Time magazine cover, and all of that. So before, let's just go ahead and finish talking about the girlfriend to the girlfriend thing, because that's a real thing.
It is a real thing. It is a real thing.
Oh,
and I see Fisha always laugh. She said, Fisha, I don't know how you do that. Like, you got too many friends.
Yeah. But and this one right here, Africa, your bestie.
Yes.
She's as busy as look, you all's lives mimic one another, but she finds a way to stop all the time. And she's like, Mama Bella, I had to just come. I had to come. And she would walk in the door after I get there, and she's tired and sweaty, but she shows up all the time for you. And just like you always show up for her. And I love that about what you do and what she does and what the whole crew of your friends do, showing up for one another. It's real female empowerment. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
And I always say, and thank you for that. And I have to say that comes with reciprocity, of course. I've always, even before I got married, been a girl's girl and I'm a lover of my girlfriends. Because I know that they are truly, like they say, as cliche as it is, they're the spice of life. And they're also a huge part of my village and support. They're the family, friends are the family that I've chosen as my life support. So even getting married, I remember always telling my husband at the time, I'm like, this is a huge part of my life, my girlfriends. And so the friends that I left California, I was very close to them. We stayed connected all these years to this day. Still very close friends with them. I was a maid of honor in 2 of the weddings that took place out there to my friends. And even now, like in the aftermath of life changes, all those friends from 7th grade till now, I'm still very tight knit with. And it's because we've nurtured each other. I water them, they water me. And it's been that for my entire life. And so as a result, I always say, your girlfriends, hold on to them, stay true to them, stay connected, because they are going to be the people that you can lean on. In every life situation that I experience, I have a girlfriend for that.
Well, I can say that I know that.
Yeah.
In fact, you have so many girlfriends. And when I see them, they're like, Mama Bella, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. I haven't seen this one in a while. I haven't seen that one in a while. it is truly what I consider to be a village. You know, there could be like just this girlfriend village, which speaks really well to this play you just recently did called Girlfriends.
Yes.
Oh my God. I was like, that's the perfect name of the play for you to be in. And in it, you portray a character who's heavy set.
Yes.
So go ahead. Let's talk about that, because I sat in the audience and I was like in awe of the dynamics of your ability to portray any character, but to take on this character here. And she is a doctor with children, and she's eating her way out of her exhaustion and her depression.
Yes.
So let's get into that, Nyfesha. Let's hear about that.
Well, I would have to say that's like a metaphor to real life, right? You know, like so many, and that's why, again, the girlfriends are they play a huge part in our lives, because, you know, as much as we can juggle all these many hats that we wear on a day-to-day or a daily basis, you know, in the play, I play in the stage play, as you said, I portray a doctor, a wife, a mother, and a girlfriend, right? I'm the girl's girl. I'm kind of like the lead, one of the leaders of the pack, so to speak. But behind that mask of all these things, I am suffering depression, and I am heavy set, and I gain all this weight. I went from being the friend that everyone deemed as, oh, she's always focusing on what she eats and judging everybody for the bad stuff they eat, and she's just a skinny little vegan. And then I walk into the reunion with my girlfriends in this play, and I'm not only have I gained weight, I'm hiding the fact that I am suffering major depression. I hate being a doctor. I'm not a good mother. My oldest daughter is mothering the children, you know. So it's just eye-opening, because I think that's another thing that you learn too when you get together with your friends. You know, no matter how long you've been friends or how many years you've been apart, when you meet each other in those reunion moments, you learn like all the things that look good on social media.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not that. You know, in the play, you learn all the characters had a story. One girl was being sexually harassed, you know, by her boss. One friend was dealing with a daughter who was pregnant at the age of 16, you know. Everyone had a story, but when we all came together, it was like, oh, you know, hey girl, we're good. And that is, again, art imitating life, because that is how it is in real life. When my girlfriends and I get together, we can unmask, we can unveil the mask. And it's
You
a
can put
real
on a
thing.
mask, they can put on your mud mask, and they can put on their, you know, their skin farming cream, whatever it is that they wanted.
Exactly.
Together and celebrate and continue in life. I think that the female solution today is and was the solution that you speak of.
Yes.
You know, and it's a beautiful thing to have you here with me today, Nyfesha. I love you so completely and entirely as you are. And one of the things as a mother is I try to embrace my children as they are individually. And I just want to put this picture up real quick, because this is Kosi, some of his earlier work.
Yes,
and
it's beautiful.
If anybody looks like you right here, it's him. And he's playing the piano, and all of these things are portrayals of who we are. That's what I was putting this up, you know, just saying that we have to remember everything our children have become are pieces of who we are already.
Yes.
And so it's been just a great moment for me to have you here with me today. Thank you. To share with me your journey, and this beautiful journey live right here on Coffee Break with Senabella. And to all you coffee breakers and everyone who supports this channel and what we do, thank you so much for coming in today. We're getting close to closing out. And I just want to say I love you so much, Nyfesha. So really quickly, say what the name, what's the name of I didn't put it up, the website.
It's www.nyfeshasarahskincare.com. So that's nyfeshasarahskincare.com.
No problem. So what I'm going to do is make sure I put it on the site, and so people can see it when they go to the page and look at the reruns and whatever of this here. It'll be there for everyone to see. It's such a pleasure to have you here. I love you too.
Thank you so much. I love you even more. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you
so
much.
And I love you.
I love you.
Because we're going to wake up.
I love you.
Oh, Nasim, we love you too. She says, love you both.
I love you, sissy. I love you so much. Thank you so much, both of you
All
guys.
right.
Thanks for tuning
Thank
in,
you.
Nana.
Thanks everybody for showing up. We'll see you again next Friday at 7 a.m. for Coffee Break with Senabella. It's been my pleasure to have you here with me today. Hey, go do your thing and have a great time doing it. All right,
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you.
Are we still there?
To our family in China, xie xie.
We can hang
India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.